guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So today I'm going to be playing another, well, this isn't a prototype, this is actually a hack of a game, and I've played this game a few times on different systems, and that's Venture. This one's actually called Venture Reloaded, because what they did was they essentially took the original Venture from Atari and made it better. And I always love these type of hacks because, you kind of think about back in the day when you used to play these games and you kind of wish they were a little bit more like the arcade, or maybe you had an Intellivision or your friend had an Atari or something and they wished that their version of the game was like the Intellivision version or vice versa. So it's always cool when we get programmers today that can actually go in to the actual code and add to it, mess around with it, fix it, tweak it, add more levels. And that was always the thing with Venture on the Atari. I always found that the Atari version Venture, and like I said, I've played it on a couple of different systems. I always felt it was a little bit hard. I don't know if this is going to be the same, if it's going to be just as hard, or maybe this is going to be harder. I haven't actually played it. I mean, I started it to make sure it worked, but this is going to be my first real go at it. And I'm pretty confident with Venture. I've played it lots of times. Now let's just for fun, just to give you a little bit of perspective, in case you're not familiar with the game, let's run through the first one just for a minute, just so you can see how it looks in comparison. So this is the original one, I should say, not the first one, but this is the original Venture that was put out by Coleco for the Atari 2600. So it's got that, loud sound. Those are your enemies. That's your character there, the smiley red guy, Winky, I think his name is. Your hero Winky. And yeah, you're going up against these things. So I just wanted to do a little bit of a run through. So let's actually play the game that I intend to play, and that's Venture Reloaded. So now we got an actual start screen. It's in a font you can't really read, or read very well, I should say. But at least it's somewhat of a start screen, and this is cool because this kind of mimics the arcade. The Intellivision has sort of this scene in the beginning, not in the beginning though. It doesn't have this little scene where he goes to get the bow and arrow and goes down the stairs. So it's cool that they added this in there. So that says press fire. I find that font to be a little bit off. I think they could have gone with a little bit more of a cleaner font, but I guess they were trying to mimic the arcade. But yeah, this is exactly what happens in the arcade, which is cool. And as you can see, though, the starting board, the music is now changed. It actually sounds a little bit more like the arcade. And as you saw when I entered there, the room expanded. Again, mimicking the arcade. Actually, even the Intellivision version does that too. Just these little tiny things that were not there. And that's the other thing that I like there, is that now that level went solid, and that didn't happen on the original Atari version. So when you're playing the game, you've got to remember which rooms you've been in, because when you die, you kind of start back on that screen, and then you've got to remember, oh, did I do that level yet? I mean, it's not that many levels that it's really, taxing on your brain, but it's just a nice little reminder. Okay, so far I'm finding this one a little bit easier to control. I like that the controls are fluid. And there was the hall monster guy that came in. Now the thing is, about this game was, it was recommended to me by Atari 2600 dude who made a comment on my previous video where I replayed Kickman, because I figured out, well, I didn't figure it out, but I mean, I went to another video and they helped me figure out why I was getting a bad flicker. And so Atari 2600 dude mentioned this game is the same, where you have to do the exact same thing that I was talking about, where you gotta change that, or turn on that phosphorus setting. Apparently I am saying it correctly, according to 8-Bit Show and Tell, who left a comment saying that that's actually how you pronounce the name. If you watched my previous video, you'll know what I'm talking about. But so far, I'm quite impressed by this version. I mean, this is the venture that I'm sure everybody wanted. Now, those dreaded hall monsters are still annoying. But I mean, a lot of it's there. Like, the sound effects are there. And this, I think, what I always liked about the Intellivision version was the multitude of sound effects in this game. You know, it doesn't just play the same song repeatedly over and over and over again. Almost every little room has its own tune or jingle or, you know, something unique about it. Whoa, it touched the exploding corpse. Now that's another thing I'm noticing that's a little bit different. Is in the original Atari version, when you killed something, it just became little dots, and then it slowly disappeared. These things seem to be a little bit different. Let's go. Ah, eaten by a hall monster. That's not good. Game over. No way. Huh. Okay, let's give that another shot. Get ready. I think there's a save feature. I remember I was reading that on the Atari Age website, where I downloaded this from. I'll also leave a link to it, so you can download it yourself if you are into playing these type of games, or if you have the emulator set up on your computer, or if you just want to read about it a little bit more. But I have to say, I am quite impressed. Like, I mean, this doesn't feel like a hack to me. This feels like this was coded from, like, ground up. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, I could see the similarities, especially in this board. I could see that, but, I mean, they added so much to it. It's just unbelievable that this is just a hack. Especially when you have, like, extra stages like this. Get ready. I like how he just goes down the staircase. You can see him shrinking. Nice little touch that they added in there. You know, rather than just, you know, him going to the staircase and then that's it. And you gotta be careful in this game because those hall monsters do enter the level just like that. And you cannot kill those things. Like, you cannot. Nothing will kill them. So, don't even try. Bloody snakes. And the treasures look a little bit better, too. At least I think they do. Oh. Having a hard time on this one. I always said I did have, you know, I always found the Atari one to be quite hard. Maybe because I was used to the Intellivision version. Or port, or whatever you want to call it. And so, I find that that one is quite easy in comparison. Not sure why. I don't know what really makes it easier or harder. But they did a really good job on this. And I mean, it feels like, it almost feels like I'm playing the arcade version with just a slight graphic variance. I mean, the graphics on the arcade, let's be real, I mean, they were blocky like this too, so it's not like this, you know, the arcade was that far off from the home console versions. I mean, this is a time where a lot of the arcades looked almost identical. Almost. I mean, some Atari games were pretty rough. I mean, you know, Pac-Man and stuff like that. See if I can complete this, because this one actually has the third level, and that was the one thing I always hated about the Atari one, was not having that third level. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Just grab it and run. Hurry up. I always hate when you come out of a room and there's a hall monster right there. I mean, it's so unfair. Whoa. Freaking lion winged beast things. Okay. Alright, let's get to the third level. Let's see how it looks. Now, all this third level had to be recreated. Or, not recreated, but created because it didn't exist. It exists on the ColecoVision version. Whoa! No way! Not fair. Oh, man. I really wanted to try some of those levels out. So far, though, I'm quite impressed. Even the monsters are better. I mean, all the enemies in this game look more like what they should look like. Like the original Atari one, it's almost like they just created all new enemies or something. Or some of them they just didn't even try. They just put in like what would look like it would be from another Atari game. Couldn't spit that out there. Arcade, Atari. Too many A's. Snakes. Yeah, I definitely like how it goes solid, though. I mean, that was another thing that always bothered me about just the small little things, you know, like why couldn't they just make it solid when you completed it? Like, what was so hard about that? Okay, I'm gonna just run and hopefully not die. There we go. Let's try and get to that third level again. The second level is always a pain. I like how it shows the treasures there too. I mean, that's also in the Intellivision version, the Coleco version. It was in every one, but I think the Atari one. Like I understand that you know they had to skip out on a lot of things due to you know, resources and trying to keep it on the cheaper side. Try not to you know. And then there's, of course, some people, what they believe is that they intentionally made them bad on the Atari so they could sell the ColecoVision. And they intentionally made it bad on the Intellivision so they could sell the ColecoVision. I never bought into that theory. I mean, it sounds like it. Like, you almost can, like, believe it, but I don't think so. I just don't see a company doing something like that. You know, knowingly putting their name on a bad product. And you know, like a programmer, like intentionally making a game bad. I just can't see them doing that. It's too weird for me. You know, it's possible. Anything is possible, but I believe there was even a article or something by the guy who did the Donkey Kong game, and I think he was addressing that whole thing about why is the game so bad on the Atari, and he said he really just came down to it wasn't intentionally bad. It was just there was time constraints and limitations that they had to work with, and you know there was a lot of reasons. It wasn't just, well, make it bad so we can oversell the Coleco. But you know, I know there's a lot of people that still kind of think that that's the way it is, or the way it was. I mean, it's probably something that'll never really come out. We'll probably never know the truth. Just always be a conspiracy. Especially when we have like programmers today that can actually make these games look like this. It kind of furthers their arguments. Did I make it to the third level? With one man again? Let's hope I don't die by the first hall monster again. Whew, I made it in. Okay. Ghosts. I always liked the third level. I don't know why. It was always my favorite on the Intellivision. You know, again, probably the reason why I was not so thrilled about the Atari version. Was not being able to play on this one. So far, it's actually doing, you know, a good job. Let's go into the key. Oh, these guys. Get me a key. Unfortunately, the items don't do anything. I mean, they're just treasures. It's just kind of your goal in the game to just collect them. Like, it's not like they serve any kind of, you know, you don't get any better weapons or doesn't take you anywhere. It's just collecting stuff. Almost like random junk lying around. Get ready. And then it should just loop back to the first board and just be harder. But yeah, this is actually pretty cool. I'm really happy that this exists now. Because, you know, I liked playing Venture on the Atari. It's just those little things that would, you know, annoy me. And the lack of that third level just, it kind of made the game a little bit boring. Oh, it's squishy. Anyways, yeah, check it out. I'm going to leave the link down below. Let me know what you think of the game. I think it's pretty cool. I'll probably play this again. Possibly even during a live stream or something, I'll play this again. It's really fun, real cool version. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Hope you subscribe. Talk to you later.